We're going to go live. We're live. Welcome,
We are
ladies
live.
and gentlemen, to our evening expedition of our Constitution of the United States and the Rick and Jeff Unfiltered. All right, you ready to start this, brother?
Yeah, let me get my hat off. All right, ready.
Here we go. Ready?
Ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here we go. Start of the show.
Starting it up.
A little banana-rama. All right, you ready to see the open
Well,
little drum roll. All right, Tokyo. Tokyo. Oh, I got to turn on my phone. Are you ready? Are you ready? Rick and Jeff. Unfiltered. Are you ready, Rod? Are you ready, Rod? Made a mistake. Here we go. Now we're going. Now we're live.
what? Now we're live.
Yeah, I had made a mistake. It was live on your Facebook, not on mine.
Oh, okay. Are we set now?
Yeah, we're set.
All right. All right. There we go.
Here we go.
So, what are we gonna do? Article what?
We're gonna go back to the Constitution. We're gonna start reading a little bit of the Constitution. We haven't done this in a while. We're gonna start with Amendment 7, right? Is that what we talked about?
Amendment 7. Yes, that's what we talked about. Election of the president.
Ooh, election of the president.
Oh no, that's Amendment 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Amendment
that was
7.
Amendment
Is
7.
ratification.
That's
Article 7.
Yeah, Article 7.
Okay.
So
hang on.
We'll get it together here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there we go. 1 through 10. There we go. Number 7.
There you
Where's
go.
7?
Yeah.
6, 7. There it is.
There we go. All right. You want to read it? You read 7. I'll read 8 and 9.
All right. In suits in common law. Ooh. Where the value.
Too many hotels recently, I think.
Exactly. Where the value in controversy shall exceed $20.
Melissa Pachura is watching.
Hello, Melissa. How you doing? Let's see. Where was it? The right of the trial jury shall be preserved, and no fact tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law.
Common law. All right.
There you go.
That's Amendment 7. Amendment 8 is excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel or unusual punishments inflicted. Amendment 9 is the enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed or to deny or disparage others retained by the people.
There you go.
All right. You want to read 10 and 11?
Amendment 10. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states, respectively, or to the people. The powers not delegated. Oh, okay. Got it. So that's trying to keep the government low.
Yeah, there you go. Small government. We're all about small government.
Imagine that.
Yeah. All right. So Amendment level. Amendment level. Amendment 11. Would you like to read that, or you want me to read that?
Oh, let's see. Where are we at? Oh, we got to go back. I got to go here. Amendment 11. The judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens of or subjects of any foreign state.
Yeah, there you go. Clear as mud, right?
Clear as mud.
Clear
So
as mud.
if you're living in New York, you can't sue California, I think is what that
Oh, let me reread that.
for something they against one of the United States by a citizen of another state,
Oh, there
or
you
by
go. Yes.
citizen of subjects of any foreign state.
Yeah. So foreign states definitely can't sue anyone.
Well, that's coming around. We're going to have foreign states suing us.
Well, you know, when
pretty soon they're going to be able to vote, therefore they'll be able to sue us and all that stuff.
yeah, you know, because the people in power just have no idea what they're doing. So I don't think they've read the Constitution of the United States. I'm just saying.
Isn't California trying to get a law? Isn't Newsom trying to get a law saying that that illegals can vote?
So, yes, he is trying to do that, but they did just pass a law, which I find very interesting. I wish I had it in front of me to read it, but they said something along the lines of any illegal aliens that are given a job capability by the president of the United States are now authorized to become law enforcement officers in the state of California. So
that's the one I was thinking about. Yeah.
You know, what could possibly go wrong with an illegal alien
being a law enforcement
officer in the state of California, right? Yeah, you know, nothing. I'm sure of it. Sure, nothing's going to go wrong. Nothing to see here, ladies and gentlemen. Nope. Just keep on moving. These are not the droids that you're looking for. So
definitely not the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. So do we want to get into Amendment 12? It's kind of a big amendment. Talk about the election of a president. You know,
let's do this one. Then that's where we'll end it tonight.
Okay, so you want me to start? So the electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for president and vice president, one of whom at least shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. They shall name in their ballots the person voted for as president, and in distinct ballots, the person voted for as vice president. I don't think we're doing this anymore. I'm just saying.
No, that's why I was trying to look and see if there's an amendment that fixes this amendment, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, maybe we'll find it. Somebody will explain it to us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And in distinct ballots, the person voted for as vice president, and they shall make distinct lists of all persons voted for as president, and all persons voted for as vice president, and of the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify, and transmit sealed to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the president of the United States. The president of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate, House of Representatives, open all certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes for president shall be president, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if no person have such a majority, then from the persons having the highest numbers, not exceeding 3 on the list of those voted for as president, the House of Representatives shall choose immediately by ballot the president. But in choosing, so basically, what's interesting about that is the president of the Senate, who's usually the vice president of the previous administration, reads the ballots, which is kind of what happened during the January 6th, after they, kicked everyone out for the rioting and they finally got control of the Senate again, was what Mike Pence was reading the ballots to determine who was the president, right?
Right.
So if you have like 3 or more people that are running for president, and none of them get the majority, like let's say you had 6 people that were running for president and none of them get the majority of the votes, you take the top 3 vote winners and you take those 3, and the House of Representatives immediately votes on those 3 who's going to become the president of the United States. That's pretty fascinating to me, I think. So
yeah.
Anyway,
the thing is now, though, they've got it fixed so that probably never going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
because of the two-party system, and even if an independent gets in there, they don't usually get any electoral votes anyways.
Right.
So it's pretty much the way it's set up now that's never going to happen. I mean, I
Right.
never say never, but it's set up so it probably won't ever happen.
Right. So to continue on, it says, but in choosing the president, the votes shall be taken by states to representation from each state having one vote. A quorum of this purpose shall consist of a member or members of 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all the states shall be necessary to a choice. And if the House of Representatives shall not choose a president whenever the right of the choice shall devolve upon them before the 4th day of March next following, then the vice president shall act as president, as in the case of the death or other constitutional disability of the president. So basically, if they can't figure out how to vote for one of the three before the 4th day of March. So it's not like there's a urgency, right? They have
Right.
time. If they can't do it by the 4th day of March, then the vice president who won the most majority of the votes becomes the interim president, as if he was the vice president when there's a president that gets sick or killed or unable to perform the duties of president.
Right.
I find it fascinating myself. I don't know, because it seems like they're doing everything in their power to make sure that there's no coup over our government. There's no rush. There's no likelihood of a coup. You got to count the votes. You count the ballots of the electors, and you do it in front of the whole House and the Senate. So the person having the greatest number of votes as vice president shall be the vice president, if such a number be a majority of the whole number of the electors appointed. And if no person have a majority, then the of the two highest numbers on the list. So on the president, you have the three highest numbers. On the vice president, you only take the two highest numbers. The Senate shall choose a vice president. So the Senate chooses the vice president, but the House of Representatives chooses the president. So again, you have a
Right, but
separation of powers, right? And a
but we don't do
separation
that
of,
anymore.
well, we don't, you're right. But and maybe we'll figure out why we don't do it later on. But I just find it fascinating that the men who wrote our Constitution did it in such a way to limit the power of any branch of government over the people of the United States.
Right.
It's just fascinating to me. So, no person have a majority. Okay. So the Senate shall choose a vice president. A quorum of the purpose shall consist of 2/3 of the whole number of senators, and a majority of the whole number shall be necessary to a choice. But no person constitutionally ineligible to be to the office of president shall be eligible to that of vice president of the United States. And I've always heard that, right? And the idea is if something happens to the president, then he wouldn't really be eligible to be the president because he's not like a U.S. citizen or whatever. He doesn't meet the qualifications of president, so therefore you can't have a vice president take the position. And they're
Right.
reiterating that here in the 12th Amendment. I just find it fascinating.
Yeah.
That's just me. Easily
Yeah.
fascinated, maybe. I don't know. I'm so easily fascinated.
Now was that the amendment that everybody was saying that Penn should use to make the Donald Trump the winner instead of Biden? Was that the amendment they were talking about that he could use?
I think so, but the reality is he still has to count the electors, right? So the argument during the Trump's second term nomination attempt or whatever you want to call it, the argument was that some of the electors, the electoral votes that were sent from the states, they shouldn't have been certified because there's problems with their voting, right?
Right.
So like Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, they wanted to hurry up and get the vote in,
Georgia.
right? Georgia, yeah. They wanted to hurry up and get the vote in because, we have to get it done. We have to get it done. So, well, no, you don't have to get it done. you have till March 4th, right? So,
Right.
like you're on January 6th, right? So,
Right.
so I find it fascinating that, and you and I talked about this, is like, well, if there appears to be the problem, why not investigate it, right?
Right. So let me
Either
ask you
you're
this.
going to prove it wrong or prove it right.
So the president is sworn in January. Is there a specific date?
I
January
don't
12th,
know.
13th, something like that.
I think that's when we swear them in. Yeah, something like that.
So if they haven't decided yet, January 12th, 13th comes around, who's the president until they decide?
The current president before the election occurred.
That's why they're going to push to get it done when there's a change of president, because they don't want the current president to keep going on and on and on. That's got to be the reason. Because if it was the same
so
president,
inauguration day is the January 21st or the 20th.
January 21st. Okay, yeah. So if the 21st comes along and they haven't figured this out, then the current president stays in the presidency, even if he was not reelected.
Right, but you still have the process that has to take place. It's not like we're going to throw away the whole process because we don't know what it is. The process.
No, but I'm telling you,
still
that's
has
why
to
they're
happen.
doing it.
Right,
That's
I know,
why they're doing it. They don't ever want that to happen. That's for
right. But what's
Whoever
sad about
signs
it is they're unwilling to allow the process to proceed. Right?
Well,
They're
well,
like, no, we got to figure it out right now. We can't wait. Got to do it. It's like, dude, seriously, what's your hurry? You just don't want the red-haired, orange-haired dude to be there another second office.
Kenny Travis is watching. Hello, Kenny.
Hello, Kenny.
Well, here's I've thought of this before, and I don't think I've mentioned it on here, but my feeling is this. So I've always said there's plenty of evidence out there to question the election and to investigate the election. There's enough evidence out there that it should have been investigated. I think my feeling is if the January 6th riot didn't happen, it may have been investigated. But after that happened, well, there were people in the Congress that were questioning it on the floor.
Yeah, and they were actually trying to say, look, what's the hurry? Let's investigate some of this stuff.
But once the riot happened and the people broke into the house there, I think everyone just said, you know what? We just got to do it. We just got to do it because
we don't care,
because America needs us together, speaking in the same voice right now, and blah blah blah. So that's my feeling, that the riot actually hurt.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah.
And any chance of Trump fixing it if it was broken. Okay.
Right.
There. Yeah. So.
Which adds credence to the FBI having implanted, people into the January 6th rioting people. That they had FBI in there to try to, instill violence so that they could say that these Trump voters are, violent against America. They want to overthrow America. So you got to get all the congressmen and women out of the house, secure the house, and then once everybody's fearful of their lives, you can get them back in the house and make them vote.
That's one of the conspiracies. The January 6th was pushed to happen so they could rush it through. And you know what I've been reading about conspiracies, Kenny.
Here we go.
Don't call them conspiracies. Call them premonitions.
FBI premonitions.
Because a lot of the conspiracies have been coming true. That's my point.
Yeah,
and that's not how it was put. I just used my own words there.
I like it. That'll be a coined term by my brother Rick Bennett. There you go.
There you go.
Let's start that terminology.
I mean, there are still conspiracy theorists out there. Don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of stuff. There are a lot of stuff that don't put a mirror in front of your face, Jeff. Okay.
That's why I was looking around. I don't see a mirror.
I know. Where's the mirror? I don't see one. I don't see
Oh,
one.
my
Yeah.
picture's on the camera right there. There you go. There you go. All right. There's a conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I need more conspiracy theories. All mine have come true. I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a meme that says when the conspiracy theorists are 13-0 for them coming true, they're no longer conspiracy theorists.
That's
Just
right.
saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, oh, that's a Trump
Uh,
Russian collusion. Oh, yeah, that didn't come out very well, did it?
yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
And I don't know. I don't know if anybody. Obviously, hopefully they're going to look in and see why this riot happened. Okay, and not just red man. What do you call him? Red man.
orange-haired dude.
Orange haired
Yeah.
madman told them to go there. That there's other reasons, because even if Donald Trump set up there on his thing and said, you know what, we won this, we need to go and march into that place and tear it down. Even if he
Right.
said that,
But
they
he
shouldn't
didn't.
have been able to get in there.
Right. They shouldn't have been able. You're right. They shouldn't have been able to get in there, and they should. He never said that, so you can't say
No.
that happened. But
No, but I'm just saying, even if that's what he said,
I
they
know.
shouldn't
I
have been
agree
able to
with you
get in.
100%. I agree with you 100%. They shouldn't have been able to get in, and he didn't say it. And what's interesting is when you look at the timeline of January 6th, and it's going to come out because McCarthy
hope
just
it does.
released all the January 6th videotapes and to Fox News. Tucker Carlson's going through them, and his team's going through them. So he'll be releasing information on it probably next week. So it's going to be interesting to see.
My brother knows I'm not a fan of Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, it's true.
But every now and then,
Tucker
Carlson will say something that's very true without just being part of the truth. And this could be this.
Right.
The other part of the truth is already blown out of proportion. So if he comes up with this part of the truth and it's absolutely the truth, I'll listen to him, because I've already heard the other side. I don't need to hear the whole gamut.
the other side, meaning the Nancy Pelosi rendition of the January 6th committee. That other side.
Well, yeah. But and even that, they're just stupid. They throw stuff out there that's not true, and they expect everybody to just ignore it when the facts come down. You know, what can he say?
The president has a constitutional right to challenge the election. It's called Electoral Count Act.
Well, I think anybody can challenge it if you've got evidence. That's my opinion. Maybe you have to go, I could go if I had 100 cameras around the country, and I brought them together and said, look, this is all the evidence I got. I could start the challenge. I couldn't actually make the challenge, but someone could. But the president, anybody in the government could challenge.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you look at how many of our elections have been challenged since Clinton, because I don't think Clintons were challenged. But
speaking
Bush,
of Clinton,
well, at least one of Bush's was challenged for a while.
Yes, because that was settled by the Supreme Court, and my personal belief is that settlement was why everybody fought against being the one having to decide whether or not Donald Trump was going to get reelected or not. So all the courts were information was going to courts and saying about all of these these fraudulent voting machines we need to get more evidence. They're all getting denied, not on facts or basis, but well, we don't think that you have standing or whatever. And the reality is, in my opinion, is that they didn't want to be the Supreme Court justices that made the decision that George Bush was the president. So and I don't think I personally don't think that anyone's really asking for that. I think what people were asking for is like, dude, what the hell? This should be investigated. There's a lot of things that people are talking about that are going wrong. And that,
someone asked me the other day, actually, I think it was my son asked me the other day, what? Okay, tell me the absolute proof that there was something wrong, because he had never heard of it, evidently.
Right.
I said, the ones I can think of off the top of my hand, you got that woman on video that after she sent everybody home, pulled all the suitcases out
Right.
with ballots
Yep.
in them. Now, we don't know who those ballots were for, but
Yeah.
common sense would tell you that
Something's not right.
she's a Democrat, and she
Right.
sent everybody home, and then she pulls them out. She's hiding something, and if she's a
Right.
Democrat, she's not going to pull out these things that are good for Republicans.
And
if
oh,
they're
by
just,
the
and
way,
if
the
they're,
voter count changed, so the
and
Trump was ahead until after those votes were counted, and Trump was behind. So
well, yeah, but there was other
there's
stuff going
that
on besides
obvious
that.
thing
She
too,
didn't.
right?
She didn't have enough votes by herself to change it. There wasn't enough votes in those suitcases to make the difference that was made up. There was other stuff going on too. Okay, but
Right.
yeah, but we have video evidence that everyone went home, and then she pulled these out and ran them through. Okay.
Right.
Now, yeah, we
Multiple
don't know who they're for,
Multiple times.
but if they were, there was a bunch of suitcases, but if
Right,
there
but
was,
she was rerunning the same ballots that were already run. That was also
see,
part of the problem.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that. I haven't even heard that until just
Yeah.
now. But I did
Yeah.
see her pulling the suitcases out and run them in there. So
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what I can say. And
Yep.
so if just common sense, if they were just normal votes, why did she wait till everybody left?
Ooh, Kenny Travis says he just got a message saying John Fetterman is reported brain dead. I
Wow.
have not heard of that.
I've not heard of that. Holy cow!
Wow.
Wow, that's.
So that was actually one
I
of the
hope
things I
that's
wanted to
not
talk.
true. I really
Yeah, I
do.
hope it's not true. I would never wish that on anybody.
No,
I'm not a
that's.
big John Fetterman fan. You can look at my past and find
Oh
that
no,
out.
we both can't
But
stand Fetterman.
I would
That's.
never want that. And part of the thing that I wanted to talk about tonight was the fact that his wife fled to Canada. And then you got to wonder why his wife fled to Canada with her kids, right? But
When
that's
did
a
she do
whole
that?
nother couple days ago. Like last week, I think.
Oh
So
wow.
so when he put himself back in the hospital because he was feeling depressed, he had all the depression. Obviously, that's not depression why he's in the hospital. If he is
Yeah.
brain dead, and it wasn't because of depression. So
No, but
and
whatever
if
was
that is
going on
true, that's
probably
a terrible
depressed him.
thing. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I mean,
Wow, that's.
I really hope that's not true, Kenny. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be a sad day in America, to be honest with you. But if you think about it, here's a guy who had a stroke, and the
Hang on, I'll be
Democrat
right back.
Party. Okay, the Democrat Party wasn't about. You all right?
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's a guy who had a stroke, and the Democrat Party wasn't about his safety or his concern or his health. They're about him winning so that Dr. Oz or a Republican wouldn't win the seat in Pennsylvania.
Right.
And as a human being, you got to realize that it's not about you as a person to be able to be a good person in the Senate. It's just about a seat, and you're a Democrat. They don't give a shit about you. They just want your person, your body to be in the Senate so they can have the numbers count, right? Man, I really hope that's not true. So
I looked up John Fetterman. Nothing's coming up on here about that.
yeah.
But yeah, it'll pop up before our show's out. I'm sure if that's the truth. So hopefully it's not true.
Yeah.
Wow. What were we
Hope
talking
it's
about
not.
before Kenny changed her
You were
trajectory?
talking
And not that we
about Yeah.
mind Kenny. That's awesome. We love
Not at
everybody to
all.
come in and
Yeah.
tell us.
Yeah.
Steve Cook is watching.
Absolutely.
Hello, Steve. How you doing?
Hello,
He's
Steve. Hello.
He's an ex Walmart employee friend who now works at the post
nice.
office down in Florida.
Nice.
So how you doing, Steve? Let's see. What were we talking about? Oh, you know what we were talking about? We were talking about January 6th.
Yeah.
Oh, are they going to find out all the other reasons why January 6th happened, other than red man bad, orange hair man bad?
Orange haired man, dude, bad. Bad Twitter man, bad. Bad Twitter man, bad. Bad. So yeah.
Kenny says,
So
hope not, but the girl who sent it to him is usually pretty reliable. Yeah. So, Anyway, what else we got to go on tonight now?
Well, that's what I
I'm
was
gonna
going to
keep
talk a
watching.
little bit about was Giselle
Well,
left her man. So
so she
Fetterman's
left.
wife fled to Canada. Yeah. So Giselle left her man. Fetterman's wife fled to Canada after Senator entered hospital for depression. When John Fetterman's health went south, his wife went north. Giselle Fetterman revealed on Friday of last week, or maybe it was yesterday. Was that yesterday? February. Where was that? Anyway, it says Friday, so I'm going to assume it was yesterday. Um, Giselle Fetterman revealed on Friday that after her husband admitted himself into Washington, D.C. area hospital for treatment for severe depression last week, she packed up her kids at home in Pennsylvania and took a road trip, but not to Washington. We drove straight into Canada, Giselle announced. A week ago today, when the news dropped, the kids were off from school and the media truck circled our home. I did the first thing I could think of, pack them in the car and drive, said Giselle. And then she said that she recommends that if you always carry your passport with you in case you need to get away.
Yeah.
Did I put that up there again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you must have.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. So Kenny also says, I say release all the unedited video. Let the American people see it.
We'll figure it out, Kenny. We appreciate your texting.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I
she
was
left
actually
the
going to talk
country.
about that. Yeah, she left the country with her kids.
Let's try to figure out what would be the reasons for her leaving the country. Let's just say she knew something like this was going to happen. It was on its way. What would be her reasoning for leaving the country? Or if she didn't,
maybe she didn't want the Democrat Party to nominate her to be his replacement. She's like, I'm out of here. I don't want
everything I've seen about her, I think she'd be jumping right on that. She'd be all over that, I think.
I don't know though, because
she likes the spotlight. She really does.
Apparently not, because she came home with trucks around her house. She packed her kids and left. So apparently she doesn't like the spotlight.
Well, no, I'm just saying there's got to be another reason.
Well, I don't know. I mean, so there's a Congressman Capps, who was a congressman of the district that I lived in San Luis Obispo at the time, and he had a massive heart attack and died on when he's getting ready to get on a flight to come back to California. And the governor of the state of California nominated his wife to take over the remainder of his term, right? And she did, and then she ran against a guy that Mike Stoker was a guy that I was actually doing a web design for Mike Stoker, and he was running against Lois Capps in her reelection. And I told my brother this story before. I was really excited to be involved in a Republican running for Congress in the state of California, right? And I was working on their website, and it was in 1999, I think, because 2000, maybe, I don't know, 2000, somewhere right in there. Yeah. So I'm excited about working on the website. I'm talking to his campaign manager. She's having me put up news stories and stuff, and I'm just having a blast, right? And I'm not charging him anything. I'm doing it all for free because I'm a Republican. I want to support a Republican running for Congress, right? And he had it said Mike Stoker, Republican for Congress, across the banner of the top of his website, right? And I wonder if his page is there. I should look it up. I think it was like MikeStoker.com or something like that. Anyway, I actually have his website. Oh, I should look that up. But yeah, I actually still have his website live on my hosting, because I put it on my hosting after he, lost, right? So that I could show a website design that I've done. But so towards the end of his campaign, where they're getting close to the election process, right? His campaign manager calls me up and she says, "Hey, I need you to make a change to the website." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem. No, what is it? What is it? Love to do it. Love to do it." "Well, you need to take Republican off of Republican for Congress." I'm like, "Excuse me?" "Yeah, so it just needs to say Mike Stoker for Congress." I'm like, "So you want me to take Republican off?" "Yeah." I was thinking to myself, he's going to lose. I mean,
he's in California.
Well,
Ricky's watching. Ricky Bennett.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going? But the reality is that San Luis Obispo at the time was a very conservative county, and it had part of Santa Barbara in the county too. So there's kind of a mix. So you had a good likelihood that it could have gone either way. But in my humble opinion, again, it's just my
But
opinion.
you're right. By
When
taking
he
that
took
off
that
there,
off,
it was going to alienate some Republicans.
yeah,
Sure.
any Republican is willing to stand up with this guy because he's saying he's a Republican and he's in the state of California and he's running for Congress. Be like, look, I want a Republican in Congress. I don't want a liberal Democrat in Congress, right?
Right.
And it's just it is what it is, But it was just kind of
Yeah.
crazy. So
Yeah. You got to get out of California. Brother. That's all I got to say.
yeah, well, if the eastern part of Oregon secedes and goes to
There we
Idaho, I
go.
might just say
You never know. Well, that's
you
another thing
never
going on right
know.
now. I told
Yeah,
my brother about this the other day. We're up in Oregon. My wife's a travel nurse, so we're up in Oregon. I'm here visiting her, and there's a thing going on up here where the eastern part of Oregon wants to secede from Oregon and become part of Idaho.
right.
And there's something going on.
There's like
Both
30
both
counties in Oregon that are have already 27 counties that have already voted to secede
well,
from
they have
Oregon
to
and
get
become part of
signatures first.
Idaho.
They have
Yeah,
to get signatures first, then they have to go and yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll be on a ballot. They have to go and take the signatures or whatever to
oh, it'll end
their
up being on the ballot. They have to put it on the ballot because you're gonna have to vote for it, But because that's what they did
well.
in California.
But even if
California
they
wanted
vote
to
for it
split
though,
two
and they
states, and they
win,
did the same thing.
that doesn't make it happen. It has to be
No,
okayed by
no,
both states,
right.
and
Both states have to approve
both
it, and
states
then
have
the
to say
Congress
that's okay.
of
We're
the
going to do
United
it.
States has to agree to it.
Yeah,
So
and then if they both agree, then it has to go to the Congress of the United States. And I'm just saying, it's never going to happen, but it might open some eyes because
right,
Oregon is so far left.
right,
They're just right behind California in leftness.
right. So I'm gonna
That
put Kenny's statement up here because he wrote, if this is true, like Fetterman is brain dead, wouldn't they have a special election? No, Kenny. What they'll do is the
no,
governor of the state of Pennsylvania will
well, point some.
will appoint somebody to finish out his term. So
Yes.
they will have basically 6 years
So
as the senator
so
of the
I'm
state
thinking I'm
of
going to move to
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania and see if I can be nominated. Uh,
Oh
Boy, Kenny, you
no,
already live in Pennsylvania, don't you?
yeah, does he? I
You
don't
could be
know.
nominated, Kenny.
Yeah, just
Yeah. I
grease the
don't think
palm
your
of your
views would go with
governor,
the
and he might
government
pick
there.
you up.
Yeah.
Just don't let him know that you've been on this show, otherwise they won't let you in. I'm
That's
just
right.
saying.
Well, I don't think Kenny's views are going to sit well with the governor of Pennsylvania, but yeah, you never know.
Probably not.
Maybe
Probably
the
not.
governor has a more open mind than I imagine. I don't.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Um, yeah. But anyway, so
as
yeah,
far
so
as far as the
that
governor of Pennsylvania, not Kenny.
they don't feel like it's going to happen, but they're hoping it will open the because the people in the western part of Oregon are just saying that the people who are running Oregon don't
Right,
care about them one little bit, not even a little.
right,
They don't do
and it's
anything for them.
true.
They
It's
do
true.
everything for the big cities and what they
Yep.
want. They don't do anything for the
Because
outlying
yeah, the
areas.
eastern part of Oregon is mostly farmland, and usually farmers are
Yeah.
conservative, right?
Kenny says no, way too many skeletons. Well,
Well, I think we all have way too many skeletons. Just
yeah,
saying,
we probably all have
you
a
never
trouble
know.
there, but
So,
whatever. But yeah, so what'd I do? What happened there, brother? Yeah, my brother's gone. So I'm here by myself now. I don't know where he went. But hopefully he'll be back. And that's just fun. Hey, he's coming back now.
I
Hey, brother, how you doing?
clicked on the button that says "Leave Studio." Apparently, I'm like couldn't see my
There you
mouse.
go.
I was out. I'm
See you,
like,
Jeff.
oh, I was really hopeful I didn't end the broadcast. That would have been great.
That would have been good. Well, you guys are gonna just
Oh,
have to come
we're
back
done.
on.
Have a nice day. See you later. Holy mackerel! Unbelievable.
So I got a couple of things here. The RNC
Republican National Committee.
they want to adopt a loyalty pledge. Republican presidential candidates will be blocked from the debate stage if they don't sign a pledge to support GOP's ultimate presidential nominee. Loyalty pledge is the loyalty pledge is unenforceable, but it could be used against the loser saying you broke your pledge. So basically, they want everybody to pledge. This is ridiculous. Okay, they want everybody to pledge, and the reason they're doing it is Trump. Okay, that's the reason they're doing it.
Really? You think it's all about Trump? The orange-haired dude?
The orange-haired bad man. No, well, he said if he doesn't win the nomination, he might run as an independent. And this is my feeling is.
When did he say that? When did he say that? I hadn't heard that.
Well, a couple weeks ago he said it.
Oh, really? Nice. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, probably the first time an independent ever won.
So no, he's not going to win. I don't care if he's Republican. I don't care. He's not going to win. Too many people hate him. No. But anyway,
time will
this
tell.
is ridiculous.
The great thing is time will tell.
And I don't like Trump, but this is just ridiculous. This is America.
Right.
Okay? You can't tell me that this is basically blackmail. You can't get on the stage unless you sign this.
I don't think we can use that word. I'm just saying.
I just did. I just used
black and male. I don't know.
Well, those are two of the words you can't use, but I put them together in one
politically incorrect in a various number of ways. So,
I've never claimed to be politically correct. So,
I don't think either one of us have.
Anyways, I just can't believe they're trying to do that. It frustrates me that anybody would try to do it. It really does.
Well, what I find fascinating about this is regardless of Republican or Democrat, it's a constant battle to try to eliminate Trump from the fray, right? So like I'm driving home from I think I went and get something to eat or something like that, and I'm listening to Fox News, and they're like, oh, so there's how did they word it? There's conflicting fundraisers going on right now in Florida, one with President Trump and one with Ron DeSantis. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? So
did you just drop the first F-bomb of the night there?
No, I didn't put it on there. I just said, what the heck is that? So I did not even beep it. I just didn't say it. So yeah, there you go.
What the
yeah, what is the problem with either one of them doing a fundraiser? So they're basically saying, Donald Trump was thinking about doing a fundraiser, and Ron DeSantis says, you know what, I want to do one on that day, or vice versa. Ron DeSantis is doing a fundraiser, and Donald Trump said, you know what, I want to do a fundraiser on that day just to see who has more fundraisers. It's like, dude, what this reminds me of is as a Christian, all you have to do is look out your front door, right? How many churches are in your area, right? And there's a Presbyterian church, there's a Protestant church, there's a Catholic church, there's a Jewish church, synagogue, or whatever. Like there's one place on Moulton Parkway here in Orange County, California, where there's literally 4 churches right next to each other. 4 different churches right next to each other. And I'm thinking, how happy must God be that there's 4 different churches? Because, we don't really worship the way they do. So we're going to start our own church right next door. It's like, if you believe in the same Jesus Christ, the same God who was crucified on a cross and was buried in a tomb and on the 3rd day rose from the dead, if you believe in the same Jesus, what difference does it make what church you're going to? I don't really like their church, so I'm going to start a new one. It's like, have you lost your mind? Because I'm pretty sure that Jesus is looking at you thinking, all right, whatever. So I might be able to see the difference between
if you don't like a church, you just go to a different one or you start your own. I have no problem with that. It is what,
I don't have a problem with that either. But right next door? Come on.
Wherever it is.
And they do it all the time. Come on, man. They do it all the time. Come on, man. No, and it's like, look, if you have a different perspective, I get it, right? You have a different doctrinal belief, as long as it's not heretic or heretical or whatever. You're not saying that Jesus is not God or whatever. Then you can have a different belief. Like if you don't believe in water baptism by immersion versus sprinkling, then you obviously have a different doctrinal belief, right? But that doesn't mean that you should just like screw everybody else. We're the church. We're the ones that are going to heaven. Because I've heard that too, right? So this is what this reminds me of. The whole idea that
Right.
Trump and DeSantis doing a fundraiser at the same time in the same state. It's like, who's better than who, right? It's like, you know what? Just do your fundraisers. If you want to do a fundraiser, do a fundraiser. I don't care. But then the media has to get in. Well, they're doing a fundraiser on the same day. Could be that. Let's see if Trump has a better fundraiser than DeSantis, and DeSantis would lose in a. It's like, dude.
Well,
first of all, DeSantis hasn't said he's going to run.
The little that I know about these two guys, Trump and DeSantis, I mean, all I know about them.
Here we go.
Is what I see of them and what I hear from them and stuff like this. And I don't know what happened to them. I have no idea. But if I was a bet man, I would bet that DeSantis had a thing and Trump said, well, I'm going to do one too, and I'll show him. Because Trump, he calls him desanctimonious. He
said that one time.
He said it many times. Many times he said it.
I've only heard him say it once, so I don't know.
He said it many times.
You sure they're not showing the same plug over and over again?
I'm absolutely sure about that, brother. And that's just how Trump is, okay? And that you can like him or not like him, but that is how he is. He doesn't like anybody telling him no, okay? He just doesn't. And he's very pissed at DeSantis because DeSantis may be running, and he hasn't even said he's running yet.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't said he's running, so why would you be pissed at somebody who hasn't said he's running yet?
That's a good point. Why would Trump?
Nikki Haley actually said she's going to run. So it's like, why not be pissed at her?
Him? So. You know why? Because Trump's a narcissist, and he thinks everything's about him. That's why. And so,
as I've told my brother many times, any man or woman who runs for president is a narcissist. So
definitely, and you're absolutely right. Just Trump carries it to a next level.
Well, there you go. So so you have a narcissist, but then you have a Trump narcissist. So therefore, it's worse than the other narcissist.
He carries it to a new level. He absolutely does.
All right, Kenny's saying something. What are you saying?
What do you guys think about the Biden administration trying to give who complete control? He's an idiot. That's what I think, Kenny. I think Biden's a fool. We know who lies. We know who worked for China. And we know Biden worked for China.
Anywhere but China. Anywhere but China.
Anywhere.
Buy your goods from anywhere but China. Just saying.
Yeah.
It's got to
even if you do it by accident, right, Jeff?
Yeah. So, so just to give you a little backstory about that, my brother and I have been, doing this anywhere but China for a long time. And I was talking to my wife during Christmas, and I thought, maybe we should get one of those iRobot things. They have the little things that go around. They sweep your floors. It's like a vacuum. It sweeps your floor, and it does it automatically. But like Costco has one, and it's got like an emptying reservoir and all this other, and it's like $600. I'm like, good Lord, what are you talking about? I'm gonna spend $600 for a digital vacuum.
It doesn't just vacuum your floor.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. So I'm just saying. So I was looking them up, and there's a Shark, and there's an iRobot, and there's this other one, and I'm looking them up, and it's hard to find, but every one of them said like made in China, right? So it's like, I don't want to do a made in China, but I thought, I went to a customer. She had 3 of them. She had one that is a mop one. And
Tim Smith is watching. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Tim, how's it going? So I decided, you know what? I'm gonna get one through Amazon. It was on sale for like $189 or something like that, down from like $230 or whatever. So I got it. It shows up in the they dropped it off in front of my door, right? So I come home, I get it, open it up, and lo and behold, it says on the package, designed in the US of A, assembled in Malaysia. I'm like, wait, is Malaysia part of China? No, it's not part of China. Yeah,
there you
my
go.
brother says, yet, as my brother
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
maybe next week. So I bought a iRobot vacuum cleaner, and I just have to say I'm pretty impressed. That's
Yeah.
all I can say about it. And
They're
it's not
nice.
made in China.
They're a
It's
nice
not
thing.
made
They
in
really
China.
are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
All right.
it has a little
Hey,
app on your phone. You can tell it to vacuum your whole house.
there you go. You can be on your way home and or out to work and tell it to vacuum your house. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of DeSantis,
There we go.
this is why DeSantis is so popular. Okay, and this speaks true. Um, he spent 4 years ignoring the polls. Okay, and that's big in my mind.
Yeah.
You do what you think is right, not what the polls tell you. Setting out his vision for the state, successfully implementing that vision, and producing tangible results.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is why he didn't listen to what people were saying. He didn't follow people down the woke rabbit hole. He did what he thought was right. So these are the three things. Be willing to lead, have the courage of your convictions, and reap the political rewards after the fact. You're not going to reap them while you're making the decisions, but down the road, you're going to reap, and that's why DeSantis is so popular. I didn't know we were going to bring that up tonight, but I did some research on that and found that
I'm glad you did, because I mean, everything I've seen on DeSantis, he seems like a really upright kind of guy. He's a military man. He did like a West Point. He was Navy SEAL. He's very honorable. You know, it's like everyone's trying to do everything that they can to bring this guy down. You can read it if you want.
Tim Smith, I bought my wife one for Christmas as well. The mobbing one too.
I think he meant mopping one.
Mopping.
But I like Kenny's. He says, we bought one and my daughter's dog attacked it like it was an intruder.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
I love it. That's great, Kenny. I'm sorry for your loss. Because that was a pretty expensive loss.
and I
just give your dog 3 $100 bills next time. Let him chew them up. At least he'll shit them out later. You can pick them up and make your money back. But yeah.
And I have some thoughts about DeSantis that I'm not sure now is the time. But I'm not sure he can wait because
he's in a tough situation. He really is.
He's doing great as the governor of Florida. Yeah. I think he would continue to do great as the governor of Florida. And I think the next presidential cycle, he would be even more popular than he is now.
Maybe.
And I think with Trump running now, those two running at the same time, and then if DeSantis beats Trump and Trump becomes an independent, welcome to Biden 90-year-old presidential.
And you may be right. You may be right. And I like DeSantis, right? And I'm not saying he shouldn't run. If he runs, he runs, right? Now, when he was running for governor, his opponent was like, asking him direct questions on the debate stage about, are you going to do your whole 4 years, blah, 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 right? And DeSantis didn't answer him because he didn't have to. Because the rules of the debate are you're not supposed to ask the other opponent a direct question.
That was one of the rules of the debate, yeah.
And he totally ignored him. And I like the fact that he did ignore him.
Exactly.
Right? I was like, I got to give this guy kudos. Whether or not he decides to run for president of the United States, that's a whole different story, right? But I think personally he has a limited time to strike while the iron's hot, right? Yeah. He's got a very hot iron right now. And waiting another 4 years may diminish his heat.
Kenny says if you listen to DeSantis, he stays calm and throws factual statements right back at them. He doesn't fight with them. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He just hits them with the facts, and then what are you going to say about that? And he doesn't. Yeah. He doesn't call them names and do shit like that.
Yeah, it was like the "Don't Say Gay" bill. He's like, okay, so have you read the bill? Tell me in the bill where it says "Don't say gay," because there's nowhere in the bill that says "Don't say gay."
Right.
And I liked that, and that's one of the reasons I like Trump is because he's willing to stand up to the mob media and tell them, pound sand. I don't care what you think. I'm going to speak out against it. Right.
Right.
And I like DeSantis that he did that. I mean, I think that's great. I don't think you can go wrong with that. Whether or not he does his 4 years or not, I don't know. But I think if he waits, so he's going to be another 6 years from now, before he'd run for president. That would be, of course, it could be like Reagan. Reagan.
I'm thinking this. Why would you have a governor election opposite the 2 years of presidential election, knowing that if your governor is good, he might run for president?
Well, they don't know that. Yeah, I think the governor elections are based on when the state became part of the union, right?
And that could be, but
because not all of them have their governor times at the same time, right? They all have the governor for 4 years.
No, because New York governor was this year,
right? Yeah.
So yeah.
So
don't
it's
think
all
America needs him. I believe he can get rid of this woke culture. Yeah, I think he could do a lot towards the woke culture. He's going to need help to get rid of the whole woke culture, though, because like Jeff knows, he lives in California. They live and breathe that shit out there, and they love it. They love it.
It's insane.
It's
really
crazy.
Is.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is like Ozzy Osbourne crazy train bullshit out here. It's just, and even Ozzy Osbourne left the country living in California. Him and his wife were like, "We are out of here. We're going back to Europe."
They truly did what they wanted to do instead of just saying, "If Trump gets elected, I'm going to move to Canada."
Yeah, but that's not why. That's not why.
Okay.
What I'm saying
what
happened to Sharon Osbourne was terrible. I mean, if you look at the Sharon Osbourne story, what her friends did to her on live media was terrible. And I think those people should all burn in hell in my mind, right? And I think everyone has a right to the salvation power of Jesus Christ. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying there, right? But they were terrible the way that they treated her without knowing any of the facts, right? And if you want to find out,
ever know the facts. They just
because they don't care. Yeah, they don't care about the facts. It's all about woke BS and you're a white. And look, here's another thing that is just
in New York, Kenny.
Yeah, here's another thing that is insane to me, right? So, what is one of the biggest woke things going on right now, right? White men. Who are the people that are talking about white men in power? They're the white men in power. Joe Biden and Buttigieg. Yes. These are the ones.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders. Buttigieg says, well, it's terrible to see, that you don't see construction workers that are from your area.
People who live there. Yeah.
Gosh. What about the mirror? Have you ever looked at the mirror and said, hey, I'm a white dude telling all these black dudes that white people have power and I'm in power, not because I'm black, but because I'm white and gay.
Remember the story about someone took their license test and the guy behind them was black. They had their head down. They weren't going to pass it. And I said,
remember this all too well.
Go give them your license. That's reparations. That's what these idiots should do. Buttigieg go, you know what? I'm a white man. Here's my reparations. I got this black man, and he's going to do the job. Because basically, it doesn't matter who they put there because Buttigieg was put there because he was gay. So you can pick anybody. And not that you can't find a black man that can do the job, because I'll bet you there are a lot of black men that can do the job better than that is.
Right.
Okay.
But also you can look at Buttigieg's history, and he's a recent convert to the gay community, and a lot of the gay community don't think he's gay.
So I've heard that. So
look at it. It's real easy to look it up. It's insane. So I heard that. I was like, is that really true? I started doing some investigation. It is so true. Right. And
and then there's the other thing. He was a mayor of wherever he was the mayor, and they called him Pothole Pete. And so a guy named Pothole Pete.
Stop hitting on your mic. I can hear it.
Yeah, sorry. We should make him the transportation secretary because he's Pothole Pete. Yeah, we should do that.
Well, what's sad is even Jean-Claude Van Damme or Pierre, whatever her face is, she calls him Mayor Pete. It's like, Pete.
Beth
Mayor
Smay
Pete,
is watching. Hello, Beth.
Hey, Beth, how's it going?
Yeah.
So,
Mayor Pete,
It's funny that these people that are supposedly the woke crowd can't even work with their own people
There you go,
to
Tim.
get their statements right. Ben Carson would make a great president. Yes, I believe he would. He was one of my 4 candidates when the 17 Republican presidential nominees were on the stage and Trump won.
How old is Ben Carson? Anybody know? Let me look
I don't
it up.
know. You're talking about a neurosurgeon who did prenatal surgeries on babies.
71. Ben Carson is 71.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's 71. That'd be about as late as I would want someone to run for the president. I wouldn't want them much older than that.
Well, according to Nikki Haley, anyone 75 or older should get a mental acuity.
And Nikki Haley, you know what? That was just stupid.
So that
That
just
was
basically involves Trump, Sanders, and Biden. There you go.
Oh, wait, no, she said Congress too, so that's Pelosi, probably Chuck
did
Schumer
she?
is that old.
Oh, Chuck U. Schumer. Yeah, he's got to be in
Chuck
his
U.
80s or
Schumer.
whatever. Yeah, Chuck
The left
U.
changed the name
Chuck
of his
U.
school. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
That's the insanity of our country right now.
I watched the movie of his life, a very smart and godly man.
Yeah, well, another reason why you don't want to have Ben Carson to be the president of the United States, the left crowd, not us, but the left crowd. Oh, he's a conservative, godly man. Yeah, we can't have that in the president.
Yeah, we'll have none of that shit.
Separation of church and state. Haven't you read about that? Yeah, can
Yeah.
you show me that in the Constitution? We have been reading the Constitution. Have we found anything about the separation? of church and
There
state?
is something in there. It doesn't say it that I remember reading it. I'll have to find it. And if you want to read it that way, you could. I don't necessarily say that's what it means, but there is something.
So you're talking about the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, which says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances.
The very first thing you said, what the very first part of what did that say?
It says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
There. And that's what they're using right there to say separation of church and state, which is bullshit. Okay, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But that's what they're using right
Exactly right. Exactly right. It is
Kenny Travis. My personal favorite is Thomas Sowell. That man is national treasure.
He is.
Yeah.
I love Thomas Sowell. Yeah, he's like what's the other guy? What is his name? Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson is another great national treasure who is now
I like Jordan Peterson. Not such a big fan of the Thomas Sowell guy. He's okay. I don't dislike him, but I like Jordan Peterson. I like him.
Well, it's because you're a racist, MFer.
That's probably it,
And neither one of us are racist. It's just we give each other a hard time all the time because we can,
Well,
so
I look at it like this. If someone calls me a racist, I'm just going to go, whatever, because there is no right answer to that.
Right.
Okay.
No matter what you say, you're wrong.
Yeah, I had someone call me a racist on Facebook one time because I didn't like somebody. I forget who it was. And they called me a racist. It might have been Obama. I don't remember for sure. But they called me a racist, and I'm like, I'm like, first off, you don't know me, so you have no idea whether I'm racist or not. Second off, I can dislike somebody without disliking them for their race. I can dislike Obama for things other than his blackness.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But people don't see that, and the left right now, they throw out racial, you a racial person, all this crap regularly. That's how they get elected. They create racial divide between us, and then people fall right down that. Jordan Peterson is too smart for me. I have to look up half the words he used. Yeah, well, Kenny, me and my brother read the dictionary regularly, so we
Because
have
we
no
don't
problem.
understand half the words they're talking about either. We're like, what?
And
The
a lot
heck
of
is
times
that?
we'll say words we don't understand, but we looked them
Yeah.
up yesterday.
Hey, yeah. Well,
Well,
we may
look.
not have looked them up, but we say, hey, you must have been reading the dictionary last
I
night.
got one more thing before
Go
we go.
ahead.
I'd like to say. So, did you hear the thing about that author Ronald Dahl?
No?
He wrote the book Willy Wonka.
Oh, yeah, Willy Wonka. Yes, I
So
have heard this.
they're
love this. This
changing
is
the words
great.
in the book, otherwise they're not going to sell it on I think it's Amazon.
We're gonna have to sing a song when this is over. You know that, right?
So the Oompa Loompa were called small men. They had to change it to small people. They were men. I don't understand what the problem is, but whatever. That's it.
Well, because they called them Oompa Loompas. They didn't think they
The
were real.
Augustus Gloop was called fat. Now is enormous. What the is the difference?
Well,
What is the difference?
It does remind me of a song, fat kids, skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks, tough kids, sissy kids, even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs. Armored hot dogs. Dogs, kids love to bite. Yep, there you go. Fat kids, skinny kids.
Obama made a terrible divide in this country, and modern day woke keeps it going. Terrible. Yes, yeah. Obama started the attack on police officers.
Yes.
Yeah. I forget.
Hey, but he had a beer with one of them, so that must be okay, right?
What wasn't the first one? The guy in St. Louis, who they said, "Hands up, don't shoot."
Brown,
wasn't he when Obama was president then? Right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He started it by not supporting that police officer. Obama supported the guy who got killed. And all the stuff they said about that guy is false. He never had his hands up. He never said don't shoot. And he wasn't shot because he stole cigarettes. He was shot because he was attacking the police officer. Okay.
He was shot because he stole cigars, just saying.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. He wasn't shot because he stole cigars.
And don't look at the video where he's wrestling with a police officer in his own
trying
car,
to get his gun
for his guns.
Yeah, don't watch that video. Yeah, because then you can still say, don't shoot, and I'm right and you're wrong. You're
right.
Anyway.
And why did the NFL support the hands up, don't shoot bullshit, but they wouldn't support the blue socks?
The what
I'm saying? Support the blue, support the police officers. They supported everyone saying, "Oh, hands up, don't shoot, hands up, don't shoot." But those people that wanted to support the police and that were wearing support the blue.
How did they support the hands up, don't shoot? I don't remember that.
Well, they were wearing the hands up, don't shoot shirts and shit like that during the football. Like when they're going out to the to play the game. They were going out
the warm-ups.
Hands up, don't shoot, yeah, blah blah blah. They didn't say anything to those idiots. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but
it was the hypocrisy of the NFL. So anyway,
yeah.
So we've reached our end, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes,
we have exceeded our time, our allotted time of the 1 hour. So we want to say thank you to the Men of Blue. Thank you. God bless the U.S. troops that support our country and defend our flag, defend our Constitution of America. God bless the police officers, firefighters, the first responders. We really appreciate you. And we want to say God bless you. And God bless everyone that came here tonight to listen to us. You guys are a great audience. We thank you for coming by.
And thank you for all your thoughts. We like it when you guys tell us stuff, especially like this.
All right, Kenny, we're gonna have to send you some money or something. Thank you very much.
Yes, and God bless everybody. Thanks for coming out. We love our police officers, and we just hope that
and nurses too. Just saying, I always forget. God bless our nurses.
Our first responders. You said first responders.
Yeah, you say first. I just want to throw out a nurse reference.
Yeah,
so. Never in China, nurses.
God bless America, Beth. They says, yes, we do. So
God bless America.